I've been making a list of the things you have commented on how the bad guys get money. And let me go through those, and then I want you to add those that I missed. First of all, cash from rich donors. The individual donors in foreign countries, they just send cash to the terrorist groups. The black market of goods, as tobacco, for example, as the ranking member mentioned. The trafficking of people, the sale of people as sex slaves, ransom payments, bank robberies, oil on the black market, antiquities, drug trafficking. ISIS tax people in their areas if they are not loyal to ISIS. If they're Christians or some other Muslim faith, they're taxed. This disturbing news about wildlife trafficking. And then you have state sponsor of terror, Iran, who gives money to Hezbollah wherever they are in the world. Did I leave out any? Y'all are awful quiet. I mean, this is disturbing news here. I'm not going to be critical of what we've done. I just want to try to see if we can move forward and stop the money flow. Mr. Woody, your testimony is compelling. My understanding is if something doesn't happen pretty soon, elephants in Africa and the rhinos are going to be extinct. Is that correct?
That would be correct, sir.
The elephant tusks end up eventually, most of them, not all, end up in China. Is that correct?
That is correct, a good majority.
And rhino horns are ground for their powder, and they end up in Vietnam.
They end up in Vietnam and China. They also use them for libation cups for different carvings as well, too.
All right. And what about foreign charities or charities working in the United States as a foreign or as a charity? Do they raise money for terrorist groups? Any of you want to weigh in on that?
Yes, charities do raise money for terrorist groups.
Like what charities? You have any names? You can name names and...
No, I'd be happy to name names. I don't have the names at the tip of my tongue, but as recently as March 31st of this year, we designated 2 charities in Pakistan and Afghanistan who are actively involved in terrorist financing.
Okay. What about domestic charities in the United States?
There have been domestic charities that have been designated and prosecuted for terrorist financing. Holy Land Foundation is probably the largest example of that.
Okay. The Holy Land Foundation. All right. Let me ask you this. How do we get all y'all and the folks in law enforcement working to share information, intelligence, about what is being done worldwide on financing terror groups? Because my understanding is everybody's kind of doing their own thing. Not saying they're doing a bad job, they're just doing their own thing without coordination with other American government or American agencies and then foreign governments. Ms. Whalen, you want to weigh in on that?
Yes, sir. I think, well, I know from the Department of Defense's standpoint, we actually provide a great deal of support to our partners at Treasury and in law enforcement with our CTF teams and liaison officers. So we are in sort of regular contact with them on a day-to-day basis, working together to share information. We have a number of enterprises within the Washington area in which we gather together to share information, situational awareness. So I think while there is always room for improvement, I think we have a pretty good basis right now of information sharing. Certainly we feel between the Department of Defense and the...
Well, are we doing enough? Are we doing enough? I'm not critical of what we're doing. I'm just asking, are we doing enough? Because of all of these different ways that the bad guys, outlaws, raise money, how can we move forward to do even a better job? You got some ideas?
Well, I think we can just expand on what we are currently doing, and we are getting better at it. There's resource constraints in terms of people and in terms of intelligence collection assets, but we are definitely improving our coordination. I think we've made a lot of progress in just the last couple of years.
All right, I'll have additional questions I'll submit for the record for you all to answer. I'll recognize the chairman of the subcommittee, Mr. Wilson from South Carolina.